In this video, we'll be talking about the ignoring tactic. Being ignored is a silent but deadly tactic. Narc parents can feign it's because of work that they are providing for the family. It's a good disguise. But there are many parents who work full-time jobs, provided for their families, and still made their children a priority. The pain of being ignored is excruciating. We as children don't understand what's going on, but we feel it inside of us. Deep down, we know something is off. The silence screams at us. You aren't worthy of my time or attention. You aren't worthy of me connecting with you. You aren't even worthy of me telling you that you aren't worthy. They will just leave you in the dark, letting your childlike mind come up with all kinds of negative things about yourself as to the reason behind them ignoring you. How do we react to this tactic? We often make excuses for them, hoping it's not what our little hearts think it is, that we just aren't lovable. Being ignored can be worse than rage. It silently screams at you that you are worth nothing, and it leaves a child with very little to no self-esteem. Easy prey then to anyone who will pay attention to you. How many of us fell for the love bombing from a predatory narcissist because we didn't have love or attention growing up? And they swooped in with all this attention and focus on us, and we fall for it because it's so intoxicating. I did. It is a natural progression to think, finally, somebody sees me. I don't think I realized that this being ignored wasn't normal until I got around healthier families. Families who told each other they loved each other. To see parents involved in their kids' dreams, schooling, teaching them how to succeed, hugging their children often, even adult children. When we see countless parents that we know being supportive and encouraging, emotionally vulnerable with their kids, both in person and even online. When we see them giving this love, support, and encouragement that we just do not get or was absent in our families, it blows our minds. Was this how it was supposed to be? And when we get into a relationship with a narcissist, which many of us do on entering adulthood, the abuse continues. Soon the love bombing wears off and you're left shocked that this once loving individual ignores you too, which reinforces the idea you developed in childhood that it's your fault. You must have done something wrong. You're broken. Many of our childhood memories flood back into our minds or even our subconscious awareness, and they confirm the treatment we are now receiving. Then you launch into trying to get that love back, the love bombing we received from the start, our perception of the way the relationship began, as if this was the way it should be again. We desperately try to prove to them we are worth the love they showered onto us in the beginning, and that is the trap. The more they ignore you, the harder you try. You work longer hours with them, or you bend on your own morals to join them in something you aren't comfortable with. You ignore the red flags and their own abusive tactics because you're so focused on getting that love back. You start becoming smaller and smaller, having less and less needs for yourself, showing them love by not needing anything from them, but bending over backward to love them so that they'll love you back. It is no wonder we do this. We just desperately want to get back to the way the love bombing at the beginning felt for us. So wonderful, amazing, and foreign to us, but we want it back. Some of us, understandably so, do not even know that this is the first tactic of the narc, the love bombing. Part of the reason we do all this proving is also tied directly to the original wound, usually perpetrated by our families of origin. I was punished for making mistakes. I was made to watch my father redo what I had done wrong, and made to feel like an idiot for not doing it right the first time. I wasn't taught that people can do things differently and that that is okay. One person's way isn't necessarily the right way, but narcissists usually think their way is right and all other ways are wrong. With this in mind, we fast forward to the existing relationship with our narc, and we apply that same pattern onto ourselves, thinking we must be doing something wrong again and that we deserve the silent treatment. We deserve to be ignored. Another way ignoring destroys us is after their punishments. How many of you were spanked after making a mistake, then sent to your room to cry it out, and no one ever came to talk to you? Left alone in a room with your heart breaking because your parents just beat your bottom in their rage, and you didn't understand the entirety of what went wrong, what you did wrong. No parent came back to you to explain or talk about what you did. No parent came back to assure you of their love for you, that you weren't a bad kid, you just did a bad thing. No one came to console you or comfort you. No one bothered even to explain exactly what it was that you did in order to deserve the punishment. You felt completely alone and confused. Many of us would get up in the morning or after you were done crying, and when you saw your parents again, all was ignored, like nothing happened. Everything was swept under the rug. No resolution, no closure, no confirmation that the punishment was over or that things were back to normal, or whatever you have come to perceive which seemed normal to you at the time. We did not even know back then that none of this was normal at all. None of this was right or healthy in any way. The problem is we are trained by narcissists to pick up the abuse they dole out onto us and start doing it to ourselves, either in our mind, with our thoughts, or aloud, so that they can sit back and marvel at the programming they've put into us. There is no need for them to do anything anymore. They don't have to work as hard at tearing you down because you do it to yourself. What are the things you find yourself saying to yourself? Slow down enough to listen. I was surprised to really hear the way I was talking to myself. I was more critical toward me than anyone. It can look like making a mistake and saying to yourself, "I'm so stupid," or "I'm an idiot," or "What is wrong with me?" It can look like thoughts of self-hatred over our mistakes, choices, forgetting things, which, by the way, are all normal. We are human and we make mistakes, and it's okay to have grace for ourselves. Making mistakes is how we learn to do better next time. Many of us were taught that if we made mistakes, we were stupid, or we were punished for making mistakes. As a child, if we are ignored most of the time, and the only attention we get from a parent is when we make mistakes, and we are guilted and shamed, spanked, or hurt in some physical way, can you see how we would have a most horrid idea of ourselves? I know I did. How do we change this repeating dynamic? How do we grow, change, recover, and heal from what this tactic of ignoring has done to us? The best way out of this trap with parents and/or narc partners or friends is to work on your own self-esteem. Don't let them define you anymore. You know who gets to define you? You do. It starts out small with little positive affirmations in your thinking. We can program ourselves and break the mental hold they have on us, both our parents and the person or persons who are doing this to us now. Along with those positive affirmations, if you haven't already, you can join groups of other survivors of narcissistic abuse and share. We know it might be difficult for some to put it all out there for strangers, but there are groups out there that can be very helpful for us to see that there are others who went through similar things as you have and get the support that you need, which will help you heal. Hearing other people's stories and telling your own helps us feel a sense of belonging and empathetic camaraderie. Showing love and support for others is a gift to them and to us. This is the way it works and has proven to be one of the best ways any person can realize they are not alone. And it resets our thoughts, reprograms our hearts, minds, and souls, and finally, our behavior. Also, surrounding yourself with people who are on the journey to recovery from narcissistic abuse is a way of continuing ongoing positive change in our lives. We can begin to change ourselves. Certainly, we must know and conclude that we cannot change our narc. The truth is, we can't change anyone. We can only change ourselves. Trust us, we have tried, and many others have as well, to change their husband, their wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, parent, or any other significant person, and it never works. When we try to do this, it is like beating our heads against a wall, an immovable object. This wall does not move and does not change. We expend our time and energy trying to break down the wall with all that we have, and it does not happen. Our energy would be better spent working on our own growth and change. Finally, on the topic of what we can do to break out of the prison we are in due to the tactic of ignoring is to read books on recovery, watch as many videos on the subjects that apply to your situation, rinse and repeat. There are many YouTube channels out there on narcissism, and for us, it has been one of the biggest and most helpful ways, other than personal experiences, to learn that what we went through was not right, and we are not crazy. We are not delusional, and we are not alone. What we went through did happen, and it brings legitimacy to our experience and gives us tips and suggestions on how to change ourselves and identify these abhorrent behaviors in others. After a while, you will find yourself seeing it all over. At work, in friendships, in families, everywhere we seem to look, there it is. It is not that we want this to be true, but it is. Narcissism is widespread in our communities, in the world, and tactics are the very basic but successful way that they damage us, program us, and control us. Listen, you are worth being seen, accepted, and loved. And there is one person who is the most important in this equation: you. You are worth it to you to see yourself, not through the warped lens of someone else. You are worth accepting you. You are worth loving you. You are worth seeing yourself and that being enough. When you get to the point where you see you, where you hold on to the truth of who you are, anyone can do or say anything. And if you are standing on that truth, the truth of who you are, who you know yourself to be, who God created you to be, that becomes enough. We can be a better version of ourselves. We can be free. We can learn to love ourselves again, or maybe for the first time, and never let anyone, including ourselves, treat us this way again. We can learn to live a more healthy, more loving, and a more life-affirming existence. We can live our lives and not just survive in them. Thanks for watching.
If you have a story of narcissistic abuse and you'd like to share it with us in order to help others or to get advice, encouragement, or support, please send your stories to our email at outofthedark.crips@gmail.com. Also, if you have any Narc tactics that you would like us to cover, or maybe ones that we have not heard of or thought of before, please send them along as well. Or, as always, you can put them in the comment section on any one of our videos. Thank you. Until next time, we hope you are living a healthier and more life-affirming existence. And thank you for watching.